You know who else used to thoroughly enjoy watching 4 penguins from Madagascar who were actually just doing silly shenanigans in New York? My mom, but also my Uncle Mort. He's really into King Julian. Oh, God, that was rough. Either way, today we're going to be taking a look at the Penguins from Madagascar show from way over a decade ago and seeing, is it actually good? Taking a look at 2 of the best reviewed episodes, 2 of the worst reviewed episodes, and 2 random episodes to see, does the Penguins of Madagascar show still hold up today? And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. At 50k, I'm going to be cosplaying as Pops from regular show and doing the Milk Challenge. And if you want a place where you could discuss your favorite games, movies, shows, cartoons, really anything you want, my Discord will be in the description. Now let's take a look at the Penguins from Madagascar show. Starting us off with one of the best episodes in the series with a 8.7 on IMDb, we have the episode Time Out. And I forgot how just nonsensical this show could be, because the episode literally opens with Private just coming down from the sky in a just brutal ball of flame, and Kowalski literally stops time with a watch that he invented. Yeah, there's shenanigans like that in this show. I genuinely thought it was going to be a lot more grounded, you know, just military level penguins going around karate chopping people, but no, it gets a little bit more in depth than that, to say the least. So the penguins are just enjoying their stopping time, and they decide first, oh my god, that zoo lady, let's grab her and force her to kiss a gorilla. And when time is frozen, you just are probably going to work thinking, oh lord, I love the animals, I can't wait to help them today, oh lord. And then all of a sudden everything goes blank. It goes dark, and then you wake up, and your lips are just slobbered all over a big, really heavy, really fat gorilla. I don't know what you would think. But either way, I kind of enjoyed that scene because not even the gorilla enjoyed kissing the human, so at least there's nothing too weird going on there besides the lack of consent.
Hey, yo, it wasn't no treat for me neither.
And so, the penguins just keep on messing around. They eventually use the watch to steal a snow cone machine, and Kowalski, he's just being the biggest buzzkill ever. He's just like, guys, I really don't think we should be doing this. I just have so many other inventions to work on today. I'm getting really depressed. And they think that's lame. So Kowalski's being a little bit of a buzzkill, but at the same time, we see King Julian, and he's all like, oh, I must know. I must know how long it takes for the flavor of my gum to go away. Oh yeah, I need to know. And so he looks over and he glances and he sees that Kowalski has a big old watch, and he's like, oh yeah, man. That's what I could use to stop the time and see how long it takes for the flavor of my gum to go away. And so he gives a mission to Mort, and Mort's all like, oh, yeah, King Julian! Oh, I love to, King Julian! And it's so wild how he does this, because the scene transitions in the show, they happen so unbelievably fast, sometimes for genuinely no reason. Like, there's no reason this should have happened. But Kowalski, he's enjoying his normal snow cone, and he goes like this, he's like, and he just switches to Mort's head, and he's like, oh, I'm taking that now! And he just grabs the watch and runs away. And that was so wild.
Ow! What? Blech. I'm a grape snow cone.
I don't know how he got in there, but I was all for it. And so, King Julian and Kowalski start chasing each other while also freezing time to, like, help the other person, but they're not able to freeze each other. It's very weird. But either way, they're fighting over it, and then they eventually run into each other, and they smash the clock so time is stuck frozen. And I just love this one scene where King Julian is just staring at everybody. He's like, oh, these guys are really good at the freeze tag.
These guys are good at the freeze tag. Really? I mean it.
What are you talking about, bro? And so, now time is just permanently frozen, and Kowalski starts panicking, but King Julian is like, oh, Kowalski, you know, we don't have to worry, cause we in no hurry, and just starts jamming out and singing an actually really funny song. I don't know if I find it funny because of the actual lyrics or even the visuals, but King Julian's voice just amplifies any scene that he is in because it's so absurd.
Nothing but time, don't have to worry, cause we're in no hurry.
But it's so funny. So Kowalski, he eventually mellows out and decides that he's having a pretty decent time with King Julian. He's like, yeah, you know, we can just be stopped forever. And it gives him plenty of time to actually work on his inventions. So that's also pretty hype, right? You know, that's really exciting. Good for him. And I fully understand why this episode was most likely reviewed to be the highest. Other than that beautiful song number, those silly shenanigans with the stopwatch, there is the most iconic scene to ever come out of Penguins of Madagascar in this very episode. Kowalski, after finishing a couple of his inventions, he's all like, look at this, King Julian. And he claps his hands and an interdimensional portal opens, and he's like, an interdimensional toothbrush. It comes out, and the proper reaction to seeing a toothbrush, obviously, is to go like,
Can't resist this.
yeah, that's what he does. And it goes on for an absurdly long time. I don't know if somebody had a fetish of watching a penguin deep throat, but that's what it feels like. Also, nobody clipped the me going. That probably didn't look very good. I hope it was funny at least, you know? I can do it. I can do it even better with like an impression. Is that better? I don't know. Either way, that's what Kowalski does. That was that was actually really funny. And so, Kowalski now complains to King Julian because King Julian has been leaving his gum everywhere, and I mean literally everywhere, and King Julian's all like, oh, I even left it in the stopwatch, what are you complaining about? And Kowalski realizes that he put the gum in the stopwatch, and that's why the stopwatch still isn't working, so he takes it out, and then everybody can move again, happy ending, woohoo, hype stuff, it's great. Overall, this episode was a lot of fun. It has surprised me in many ways because genuinely going into this, I had no expectations. I didn't really remember a single episode of the Penguins of Madagascar show. I have like faint memories, but none of it actually connects inside of my brain. So to go back to this, it was very interesting. I think what this show definitely does have is very interesting characters. I don't really think you could go wrong in that department because King Julian is just so funny on his own, just being himself, and then the Penguins are obviously very interesting, but when you're just left with Kowalski, it's kind of whatever, because he's cool, but he's kind of like the buzzkill of the Penguins, so that's kind of whatever. But either way, I like the world, I liked everything they did in this episode, so if I was to rate it 1 through 10, or 1 to 10, I would probably give it like a solid 8 out of 10. Gave me a couple of chuckles here and there. The episode flowed decently well. I love the song, I love the comedy. It was just a really decent episode of this show. Taking a look at one of the worst episodes in the series with a 7.1 on IMDb, we have All Nighter Before Christmas.
And you know, when you're trying to make a Christmas special, and you're gonna make it 24 minutes long, you should try and make it at least a little bit entertaining. Something that can make you smile, at least a little bit. But dear Lord, if I watched this before Christmas Eve on Christmas break, I would probably lose my mind, because there's nothing entertaining about this shit waste of space penguin fest. I swear to you, I never want to see this episode again.
Yeah, this episode's really bad. It's a Christmas special, and usually when I watch my Christmas specials, I expect them to be a little bit hype. You know, a reindeer here, a Santa Claus there, a ho ho ho. You know, just having a good time, giving you that warm feeling, making you want to go and lay a plate of cookies and milk on the table. But no. This is so absurdly boring for the entire thing, and it has 4 different plot lines all going at the same time, and only 2 of them are interesting, and they're only interesting like half of the time, so it just sucks for the most part. The Penguins, they want to jingle the jingle and Chris the Kringle for the kids, so they're doing something called Kidsmas, where they have to throw this big old a celebration, this big old Christmassy bash for all the kids, and King Julian's all like, I want the most important job, I want it so badly. And so he takes all the cards and he mixes them all together, and so everybody has a job this year that they normally wouldn't do when it comes to setting up for Kidsmas. And Lord, I just don't care. There's like this crocodile who I had never seen before, who talks like this.
I've never really done the music before, but I think I'm gonna nail it. I'm gonna nail it.
And so he starts doing the music with all the gorillas, and that entire plot line, the entire joke is that these chameleons, they'll be like, okay, cue the chameleons, and they'll go, la, la, la. Yeah, and that's the entire joke.
The ding-dongs.
Did you laugh at that, or did you cringe at what I was doing? You probably cringed. That's how I felt while watching it. Just not very entertained, to say the least. And then there's the monkeys and another character, I don't know, and this otter named Marlene or something like that, who are both doing the decorations at the same time. And one group wants to be like Charles Dickens, oh, very sophisticated decorations, looking so spiffy and spoofy. And then Marlene wants to do traditional Christmas, like really fun and joyous, yay! And so the two of them, they clash over what Christmas decorations they want to have, and they have a snowball fight. And you think it'd be fun, you know, kind of like the SpongeBob snowball fight episode, where it's SpongeBob just being like, ah, just inside, and Squidward's losing his mind, just being like, I see you over there, SpongeBob, and just nobody's there, and he's just extremely paranoid. That's a really fun snowball episode. But watching these, like, honestly horrible CG little animals just throwing snowballs at each other in not very fun ways did not tickle my fancy, to say the least. And so, that's pretty much all their plotline is. And then we get to Skipper and Private, who are doing something interesting for the most part, but just I feel like the execution was a little bit poor, where Private is following a mall Santa and Skipper's following a different mall Santa, and they end up at the same room. And then there's hundreds of Santas, so they take one, and they start torturing him, trying to learn where his boss is. Yeah, that was okay. I feel like they could have done a lot more with it. I don't know. It just felt like it was lacking for me. And then King Julian, he has a task where he's supposed to get the best tree ever, so he's going around New York, and the only scene that I really liked out of this was Mort. He finds this little twig, and he's like, oh, King Julian, I know it's small, but if you water it and give it lots of love, it'll be perfect for Chinese New Year. I thought that was really funny.
It could grow up to be a beautiful swan, and that is the true meaning of Chinese New Year.
That was probably the most I laughed in the episode. But then he wants to steal like the giant New York tree, like the big ass one for Christmas. And so we get an entire plot line of Skipper, Private, King Julian, and all them stealing that tree and driving it back in a truck and fighting off the mall Santas, which sounds like it would be super entertaining, right? No, just visually it wasn't all that for me. There was not any ho-ho-hoing for me. It was just kind of boring. They eventually get it back, but it's a little bit destroyed. And so now they're all like, oh no, Kidsmas is ruined. Oh God, no. And then Santa himself shows up, and I was expecting, okay, maybe this is where the heat comes from, you know? The light is starting, it's gonna start cooking up, it's gonna be joyous now, I'm gonna get in the Christmas mood in October, yippee! And no, he failed me once again. Because he does that typical thing where he's like, ho, 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 oh, Skipper, ho, 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 you had Christmas inside of you all along. And then he leaves. Wow, what fucking magical advice that was. And Skipper's like, you know what? He's right. Oh, Kidsmas! Oh, Kidsmas! Let's celebrate! And then they start singing, and then all the kids are happy, and that's the end of the episode. Man, this sucks. This sucks really bad. I don't see anyone choosing to watch this when Christmas time rolls around instead of like the SpongeBob Christmas special, regular show Christmas, whatever you want to watch. I don't see why you would ever choose this. It's so unbelievably boring. And I feel like it wouldn't be boring. These characters doing Christmas could have been really entertaining, but whatever they thought up, man, it was awful. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it a 3. This is genuinely one of the worst Christmas specials I have ever had to watch, and just sitting through it, I was just dreaming of it, thinking it's gonna be a very good Christmas to me, da 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 da. You know, that's what I was thinking about. I could not sit through this very well. It was really awful. Taking a look at another one of the best episodes in the series with a 8.7 on IMDb, we have our man, Gerfel Sticklestan. And the beginning of this episode is honestly really slow for me. It opens with the Penguins getting a package, and in that package is a message from Rockgut saying that one of them is a sleeper agent. And Skipper doesn't believe that this could be possible. How could one of his own subordinates, his teammates, his comrades, be a brainwashed sleeper agent trying to kill them? So, we basically just get 5 minutes of Skipper denial, where he doesn't think anything could be happening, and at the same time, the car's brakes are cut, or they're about to eat sushi, and Kowalski's like, "No! Don't do it, Skipper!" Because she sees a fly try to eat the sushi, and the fly just dies. So, it's clear that something is a little bit awry, something's going a little bit wrong. And they even go back to Penguins HQ, and everybody that isn't Skipper just starts getting beat and bruised and flamed. They just start dying, basically, and Skipper's still in denial until his own life is put at risk when he blows up in his face. And then I think the episode actually starts getting a lot better from here on out, because after Skipper gets blown up in the face, his denial just goes away and he jumps on Kowalski and he's like, "I know it was you, Kowalski!" It's so funny. So Skipper's crash out's really funny.
Therefore, there is no sleeper agent. It's you, Kowalski! I always knew it was you! Confess! Confess!
This show actually does crash outs really well, surprisingly. Just characters getting very angry. I'm always all for it, I enjoy it a lot, and Skipper's is no different. And so, they eventually realize that none of them are the sleeper agent, and they need to find Rockgut in order to find out who the actual sleeper agent is. And they learn that he is not actually hiking in the Alps, the Swiss Alps, he is just in Brooklyn, just filming a video. So they go there, and they confront him, and it turns out that he is the sleeper agent, he himself, and Red Squirrel is actually there! The villain of the episode, the Red Squirrel! Gerfel Sticklestan. And he's all like, "Hello, boys. So, this was all part of my plan. My plan to turn you all against each other." And so they start fighting against Rockgut, who is the sleeper agent, who's using a t-shirt cannon. And, because Rockgut is an extremely paranoid person, I don't know why, they all decide to wear eye patches, and Rockgut's like, "I cannot tell the difference." And he starts panicking and freaking out, so they're able to defeat Rockgut, and they also defeat the Red Squirrel at the same time. Wonderful. So that part of the episode was decent and good. I liked them defeating the Red Squirrel. That was a lot of fun. Those first 4 minutes kind of held me back from fully enjoying the episode, because although it was fun to see all the different sabotages and all the traps and stuff, it really wasn't that entertaining. Once Skipper lost it and just started pounding Kowalski in, it got a little bit better, but for the most part it was mainly boring. I'm not going to say this episode is bad, because I did enjoy the build-up a little bit, but it was just really, really slow for me. I feel like they should have gotten to it about 2 minutes earlier, maybe, at least, and then save some time for that final battle or something. That would have been cool. Either way, if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid 7. There was really nothing bad about this episode besides some of the slow parts, but maybe that's just me being impatient for a Penguins of Madagascar episode. Overall, still really decent. Gave me a couple of chuckles. I really liked the Rockgut final battle there, and there were a couple of moments that genuinely were just like, what the hell is happening? Specifically where they were all dressing up as the Red Squirrel, and then they all just start mocking his voice, and Kowalski's like, "It's all in the throat!" Yeah, I thought it was pretty decent. Definitely nothing bad about it. Taking a look at another one of the worst episodes with a 7.1 on IMDb, we have Happy King Julian Day! And so this one's all about celebrating King Julian Day. It opens with a meeting where nobody's really inclined to celebrate King Julian Day, even when they worry that he's a little bit of a freak 7 days a week. Yes, they actually say this. Marie says that King Julian will freak out, and then it shows him holding a stick saying, "You didn't remember King Julian Day. I must abuse the forgetters."
Which forgetter is next for their whooping? Come on! I want you to hurt like I do!
Yeah, that's a little bit odd. So canonically, King Julian is a domestic abuser. good to know. You know, we're just learning all that important lore about the character, to say the least. And so, as the episode goes on, they all cave into the idea of King Julian Day because Maurice offers them a piñata full of candy. Everybody except Skipper, who just wants a really nice day at home to do some scheduled maintenance, but he lets his little privates Enrico and Kowalski go and do it and have fun. The main thing that is enticing about this episode is every single time King Julian thinks that somebody doesn't want to celebrate his day, he gets very angry, and watching him tweak and just freak out like, "You dare forget my day!"
And I am about to freak on them. Rum, rum, rum. Oh, here it comes. The freak out.
It's really funny. That's like the main highlight of the episode. I enjoy all those aspects. It's really funny, but either way, they do something like tossing fruit at people. King Julian just throws fruit at everybody, or they all have to bake him a cake. That was an okay part of the episode. They all just bake him a cake. He doesn't like it, but he eventually likes one, and he's like, "Mort, bring it to me now." And Mort's like, "Okay, King Julian," and he trips. And the cake goes flying way into the air, and it lands on Skipper's head, and Skipper marches on over there, and he's like, "I just wanted to do some scheduled maintenance. Was that so hard to ask?" And then King Julian just looks down upon him like, and then he just takes the cake off his head, and he's happy either way.
My cake is back.
Yeah, he was about to freak, but he didn't freak. I honestly was kind of hoping in this episode that he would freak out and just start beating everybody in just malicious ways. I thought that would be pretty entertaining, but he never does. He eventually shares the piñata with everybody, happy ending, yada yada yada. Happy King Julian Day. For the most part, it was okay. I feel like it didn't deliver in some aspects that I thought we were going to get. Like, genuinely, the majority of the episode is focusing on King Julian getting angry, about to freak, and then he doesn't, and he never has that moment. I really thought it was building up to that, which was just kind of lacking when I never got it. Everything else was okay. It's more of a grounded episode. There's not really anything too crazy going on, anything too momentous. There's just a couple of laughs in this episode. So if I was to rate this 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid 5 out of 10. There's nothing bad about it. A 5 out of 10 isn't a bad score, but there's nothing overly good about it that makes me ever want to rewatch this episode ever again. Taking a look at the random category with a 7.7 on IMDb, we have the episode King Julian for a Day, starting off with some good old-fashioned classic racism. We have Skipper being like, "Okay, you know, these lemurs, we are not a fan of the lemurs, okay? I swear to you, this zoo would be absolutely perfect if there were no lemurs at all. I will do whatever it takes to make sure the lemurs are not here. They are the epitome of everything that we despise. We do not want them. We do not need them. And yes, I am saying lemur with a hard R. I do not care. I do not care. I'm not about it. It's just the Skipper not liking the lemurs. He doesn't like them because he thinks they're annoying, which leads to everyone saying that King Julian and Skipper should switch places for one day so that they could gain a modest respect of each other and stop their nonsensical bickering. So I was like, great, I don't really like these plots where they switch places like this, but hey, maybe it'll wow me, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it did not wow me. It did not wow me in any way, unfortunately. So Skipper is now King Julian for a day, and King Julian is Skipper, and they both just go along in their plots. I do like the opening of King Julian doing Skipper's plot, where he has to eat fish, and he just starts panicking and freaking out and running around, just being like, "I cannot do this! I can't do this! Oh, the fish! The fish!"
Just one tiny. It's on my tongue! Cut it off, my tongue, cut it off!
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. That was really entertaining. But after that, it just gets so boring, man, for so long. Because King Julian, he just hears about secrets, so he wants to see the secrets, and all of the secrets turn out to be really boring. Like, that wasn't entertaining at all. The main secret is that he finds a staff that can, like, control wind and can push things. Really? That's the best we could do for him being Skipper? Have him go on a covert operation where he has to, like, I don't know, unconsensually assault a woman and make her kiss a gorilla again. I don't know. Do something like that. Something that is more entertaining than him using a wind staff. This isn't Origins, man. So On the other side, we have Skipper, who is King Julian, and you would think, okay, he's gonna have some interesting, like, lemur things, like Mort's gonna really annoy him, Mort's gonna make him very angry. No, he just thrives as King Julian. He doesn't care about the fact that he has to eat fruit, he has to kick Mort, which he does amazingly, he boots him away, but that's it. That's all we get. I was expecting, like, you know, it to be the plot where, oh, they actually learn to respect each other, which they do, but it doesn't feel earned, even remotely. I don't even know why they respect each other by the end of the episode. So eventually, Marlene sees that there is a cotton candy machine, and she begs Skipper to go and get it. But Skipper's like, no, that has to be King Julian. And so they all combine their powers to get the cotton candy. And so, they all combine their thoughts and thinking stuff, you know, they steal the cotton candy machine, and they're able to get it back, which creates a giant cotton candy store using that wind staff, and boom, shakalaka, everybody has cotton candy, and that's the end of the episode, and for genuinely no reason, Skipper's all like, you know what, Lemur? I respect ya. Why? You didn't learn anything about his position that would make you understand why he acts like an annoying prick, and King Julian learned absolutely nothing about what it takes to be a leader. Everything worked because of shenanigans. There was no planning, there was nothing that actually stated that you guys should respect each other, but whatever. I guess I shouldn't really expect the Penguins of Madagascar show to have, you know, the most in-depth writing ever, I guess. I guess it's decent for what it was. Either way, if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, probably give it a solid, you know, 4 out of 10. This didn't really wow me in any ways, and at certain times I thought it was bad because it felt like they were really going through the motions. It felt like there could have been so much crazier plots or just crazier ways to take the characters, and they just never really went there, and I felt like it was really kind of nonsensical, which kind of took me out of it a little bit, and the conflict resolution just genuinely made no sense whatsoever. So yeah, that kind of held me back from enjoying it, and the only time I was really having fun was when King Julian was eating that fish. That was it. That was all there was. Everything else just sucked. So yeah, 4 out of 10. The final episode that I'm going to be taking a look at with a 7.7 on IMDb is Maurice at Peace. And don't get me wrong, this probably isn't funny to a lot of people, but to me, the opening of this episode is just just pure bliss and joy, because it's just two monkeys using a computer and they're watching like a really shit cat video, and one of the monkeys is like, oh yes, LOL indeed. I don't know, that made me start cackling. I thought that was really funny.
Oh, yes. LOL indeed.
Maybe it's just because in my modern lingo, like, ironically, I like to say LOL, LMFAO, raffle out loud at random situations. That's probably why I found that funny. Most other people probably wouldn't. But so far, great opening to the episode, and then it kind of loses me after a while because, they learn that Maurice is going to die in 21 hours, and King Julian shows up and he's like, oh, I just sent Maurice to get the walnuts. What is this all about? And they tell him that Maurice is going to die, and King Julian's like, no! No! It just starts freaking out. And so they all decide that they're going to give Maurice the best possible last day and just not tell him that he is going to die. So, you'd think we get a decent amount of shenanigans there, but it's really not that entertaining. The main, like, front of it is King Julian acting out of character and being super nice to Maurice, like, oh, here, Maurice, take this chair. Oh, yes, Maurice. Oh, I love you, Maurice. Here, have some fruit. And after, like, a minute, like, yeah, you're like, oh, this is cool, and then it just kind of goes away because he does it for so unbelievably long that I'm just not enjoying myself, and Maurice is just very annoyed because he's getting bugged and he doesn't actually like to be treated well, apparently. Maybe that's why Maurice hangs around King Julian. Maybe he's a masochist. Maybe he likes all the torture. He's like, yeah, you want to tell me to go and get some walnuts? I'll do that for you, yeah! Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting because of this episode now. And at the same time, Skipper and the other penguins, they're learning that there's a flower that could potentially save Maurice, and so they go to this flower shop and they're trying to steal it, and we get a bunch of shenanigans there, but all of them weren't that entertaining. The only one that I really liked about it is when Kowalski is trying to use like a giant claw machine to pick up the flower, and Private's just like, oh, well, I could just go and do it this way. And he just runs and goes and grabs it. And Kowalski's like, fine, do it the boring way, I guess. I thought that was entertaining.
Maybe a curly cue.
Skipper, we've got it!
Good work, Private.
But it was just okay for the most part. And then we cut back to Maurice and King Julian, who are still doing the same exact thing they were doing before, but I did get a laugh because Maurice is about to go to sleep and King Julian's like, no, we have to boogie down. Like, they just started getting hella jiggy with it, and I thought that was really funny.
Shut things up and getting down.
I don't know, because they're lemurs and they're dancing. So, you know, you gotta enjoy the little things in life, I guess. That was good. And eventually, Maurice just falls over. He dies. The penguins show up with the flower. They feed it to him. It doesn't work. But then they overhear the zoo lady, and she's like talking to this guy who is also named Maurice, who doesn't have 21 hours to live. It was like a promo or something stupid like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's the end of the episode. Maurice is gonna live. He's happy. He's fine. Yay. It was okay. It was definitely okay. Again, it's one of those episodes where I feel like they could have done something a little bit more crazy with it, but they decided to lean into specifically one aspect, and that main aspect is just King Julian being nice to Maurice. But they didn't do anything that crazy with it. It's just like, oh, Maurice, have some fruit. Oh, Maurice, here's a pillow. It's just not that entertaining. I feel like they could have done way more crazy stuff with it. Like, oh, Maurice, beat me with a stick. Beat me. Here's my big ass, my big lemur ass. Whack it. Whack it, Maurice. But that never happened. So I was just left kind of feeling like, you could have done a lot more. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a 5. There was nothing awful about this episode that would make me want to rank it in the lower side, but there was nothing overly good about it that would make me want to come back and rewatch it, so I think just very average is a good spot for it. Is the Penguins of Madagascar show actually good? I think what this show is good at is humor and timing. When they were telling a joke, I was usually like, it's just when they decided to be more grounded with the plots that I wasn't really having a good time. When the characters stay the exact same, the way that I expect them to be, it's not that entertaining. But when you put them in situations like the Stopping Time episode, where Kowalski is just at his maximum inventing levels and King Julian is at his maximum stupidity, combining those, that was really entertaining. And I'm sure there's a lot of episodes that are like that, where they take how wacky the characters are and just push it to the extreme. I just think I got a bad pool of episodes. So I would say for the most part, this show is probably really good, because it does manage its humor and its timing extremely well, and most of the plot lines, they flow pretty linear, and when you're not telling ass and fart jokes the entire time, then I could tell that you're actually putting a little bit of passion into the show, and the show definitely has passion. I don't think it would ever be one of my favorite shows, but I would never call this show bad. This is a show that I would like to visit more in the future.